Good afternoon. Hello and welcome to another edition of Up the Pilgrims. Yes, it's me, Damien, and I am joined by David this week. Good afternoon, David. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, very well. Thank you, Damien. And I'm buzzing. I just want these games to come thick and fast, and hopefully we can do it because it's looking more likely now than it's ever been before. So I just want to keep going into these games and hopefully keep picking up the points and secure safety as soon as possible. I fully believe now.
Exactly. And I mean, the big game obviously this Friday. Just to let you know, by the way, Tom's on his hollybobs. That's why he's not here today, but he will be back with us next time. So just to let anyone know where they're asking where Stedders has gone. But yeah, no, we've got Wealdstone on Friday, but let's start off because last Saturday another tough game. We were home to Altrincham and. I was nervous about it. I wasn't too sure.
Mm.
I was probably hoping for a draw at best, but thankfully on their day, Altrincham just weren't great, were they?
They It was odd because they had lots of the ball with an Altrincham side and a Phil Parkinson side. They're going to have lots of the ball. They created a few dangerous chances, but you know, Alex Newby and Regan Linney, they're probably like star front men. We kept them really quiet, in my opinion. And the chances that, yes, we did get a bit lucky with the one that came off the post, but sometimes I don't think we've had barely any luck go for us this season. So for it to come off and stay out and Cameron Gray to get up and make the save and Zach Mills with a block, I think it's fully deserved. And then that
Yeah,
switch ball from Jacob Hazel, doing well on the press when they were knocking it round the back. I think we're better against football inside because the way that we actually press the ball, obviously we can just get in their faces. And this time it worked again. And it did create multiple chances in the game. Hazel getting a few times, but we only scored once. But we were just lucky that the one goal was enough to get the 3 points. Like I'm going back to Altrincham, I thought they'd be doing a bit better than what they're doing at the moment. They fell off a little bit. I think in my pre-season predictions, I've put them quite high in the playoffs. I got a lot of respect for them, and it wasn't the side that I'd known to, you know, like with these good phases and passing phases and just trying to knock it about Boston. But the only stat that matters is Boston put the ball in the net more times than Altrincham did. So we get the 3 points, and yeah, big game on Friday.
absolutely, of course. And just quickly going back to Altrincham, how good was Jacob Hazel on Saturday? I thought one of the best games he's had in a Boston shirt by far.
Yeah, no. I've criticised him over the season, to be perfect, especially those first few games under Culverhouse, and I just think it's the change in the mentality that Graham and the staff have instilled in the squad. Effectively, Hazel did not move for the ball, did not run, did not just not look lively, and now he's chasing down lost causes. He was chasing down lost causes a few weeks ago, but he wasn't really doing it that intelligently. He's sort of just blindly running and willing. He's showing willingness to go for the ball, but it was with no sort of thought process behind it. And now you can see him. He's constantly checking his shoulder, constantly scanning and looking to see. And it got us in a few times. So yeah, from Hazel being probably, in my opinion, one of the worst performers at the beginning of the campaign because with what he was up there, I guess that's down to what he was up there at the top of the pitch with, to now becoming one of the most standout performers week in, week out. It's been an exceptional improvement from him in such a short space of time where Graham's really come in. And yeah, it's great to see him. He's popping up here. He's obviously the top scorer. 15 or 14. I don't know. I might have just pulled that number out of my head. But no, it's
Yeah, I
still
think he was.
amazing. Yeah, amazing numbers for Jacob Hazel, who I've mentioned this before. He's not had much actually experience at any higher level than the National League. He's sort of really played Northern Premier League, National League North all of his career. So for him to step up and fill the boots, and his personality as well, it's just infectious, isn't it? You can see it. He's grafting away and winding up opponents. He's just a really lovable guy, really, and it's great to see.
Of course, Watergate we're referring to as
Oh
well.
yes,
A few weeks
yeah,
back,
what a
yeah,
guy,
yeah,
what a
emptying the
guy.
bottle of the
Oh,
keeper, and yeah, yeah. So, and I mean, as you're saying, he's improved so much, and under the leadership of Graham Coughlan, who obviously got awarded Manager of the Month as well for March, which big congratulations to Graham as well for
Yeah.
that. Very, very much deserved. And there's an old saying actually for one of the other teams I follow, Tottenham, when they used to sing about Pochettino and he's magic, and I mean there could be a song coming out about Coughlan, he's magic, because the turnaround is just superb, isn't it?
It is. I honestly don't know what it is. I was discussing this on commentary before the game with my co-commentator, and we were sort of like lost for words, and we kept coming back to the same point. It's not the players. He's not ripped up the whole team and started again. It's the little inclusions, and it must be down to the mentality difference of the players. There looked to be a set plan now. Effectively, Boston, the players know how they want to play. They know their phases, and they know what they're going to do. Under Culverhouse, sometimes at the start of the season, the players didn't really look like they had any intention to push the ball forward, and there was looking like they were playing like individuals, and there was no sort of cohesion between them, if you get what I mean, sort of. So yeah, it's a staggering improvement in a ridiculously short space of time, and people have been talking about it being one of the best and the greatest escapes of all time. I don't know where it stands. I'd have to do my research on this, but it's been ridiculous, and the amount of work that he's put in, like in the public eye, is barely anything at all as in regards to moving players about. It was just that he's gone into a dressing room where there was, the players were hurting, and they still had lots of belief though that they could finish it off. And it was just, I think mostly it's just the little tweaks and the little changes in professionalism, and he's got them going again. He's got them fully believing it. I think it's just that mindset difference. And wow, I know the job's not done yet though. Can't count the chickens too early. Could be done by the end of this if we go and beat Solihull on Easter Monday and other results go our way. But to even be within a chance of, having it in our own hands, we were 12 points adrift or something after the game with Eastleigh in February, and now we're 5 points above the drop zone. It's literally polar opposite. I might get a nosebleed if we go any higher, but it's it's in our own hands, and it's going to be such a great day on Friday, especially with the kids for the quid offer that the
club
put on as well.
Crowd.
Massive, probably the biggest the Jakeman's has ever seen. I'm
just wondering that.
Yeah, Wellstone should bring a few as well because it's also important for them. I think you can say whoever wins this game is definitely sealed the deal, not points wise, but you look at the other teams, and we'll touch on that in a minute. The other teams have got a few hard run-ins, and they're all 6-pointers. So somebody's going to have to drop points out of the two. So I think whoever wins on Friday will stay in the division for next year, and it's nearly rubber stamped.
Yeah, at least hopefully that we are one of them. And I mean, if and when we do, the Great Escape theme has got to be played at the Jakeman's, hasn't it? It has to be, because, like you said, one of the greatest escapes. But it's funny because when you look back and when Graham came in, obviously he got his first win in his first game at home to Braintree, and then it was a kind of, again, it was, it wasn't quite there, and you could tell, he was still working on the team. Then he started to get some bits out of the team, but then obviously the Tamworth game seemed to be the catalyst that, we were so poor in that game. We lost 3-0. We played probably one of the worst performances of the season, at Tamworth. And I just wonder what happened in that dressing room after, because to be fair, probably since then is where it's really, really sort of picked up and moved on, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think we can cover probably what was said. Obviously, we don't know, but we probably wouldn't be allowed to say it on here.
We probably wouldn't.
No, that was a horrible birthday for myself. I treat myself out to a day out in Birmingham, and we go and get stuffed with perhaps one of the worst performances of the year. But no, from there onwards, it's been, it's been used as sort of a catalyst, and they boosted themselves on from that. And you look at the results that we've had under Coughlan. It's not like we weren't in contention for every game at the beginning. and we were shipping 4 goals to Oldham. I was there that night. The Tamworth game, obviously, we had a few heavy defeats, and I think he mentions about all the time, if you listen to his interviews on Radio Lincolnshire, kicking a boot up the backside or a size 9 or whatever, however he says it. He's not afraid to rejuvenate the players if needs be and spur them on. And I think that's what he's been doing. And it's a real belief. I think in comparison, I'm going to bring us back to the Culverhouse style. It was reported that they didn't really have much influence in the dressing room, the management team. They used to give it to the players to lead themselves. And I think that's probably where that system sort of failed effectively, is when we kept losing and when it's winning, it's all well and good because everybody's, high as a kite and bursting to go into the next game. But sometimes I still think you need, a figure to step in, and Graham is that figure, and he knows what he's doing. He's been there before in his playing career and his management career, and he's produced absolute miracles. It can't be described as anything less than that.
No, of course, yeah. And I mean, you look at the squad now, and you look at the squad from last season, and they all seem to be together as one. But I don't know, this season just seems to be on another level now, doesn't it? The squad as a whole are just so as one. I mean, they're taking each game as it comes. I think it's like you say, what Graham's instilled in them. The group are very close with each other. And I mean, that could lead on to next season, especially, if the unthinkable happens and we do stay up, a few of these players we could be seeing for a third season, which would be incredible, really.
Yeah, it is sort of ridiculous when you think about it. It's what it's what got us over the line last year, though, isn't it? That running, that 7 or 8 games. We had a loss against Rushall away on the Easter. I think it was the Easter weekend, and
yes, it
we
was.
won we won every game from there on out, and and that pushed us up and that momentum into the National League. And now we are losing games once or twice, but the run we've been on is incredible. And I'm more impressed at the fact that we've lost a game, like we lost at Weldstone a week or so ago now, and they got back on the horse and they've gone again. And that's what I've really been impressed with, is the speed that they're back on it, and it's that belief that they can do it and they can drive us over the line. I honestly think that in that dressing room, they've known that we've probably got a decent chance of staying up for a long time if they can produce, their best. And I think we are seeing some of that now. And there was probably a lot of belief in there inside and behind closed doors. But, it's just taken the fans, from our perspective, a real, a couple extra weeks to realise, hold on, this could be happening. And now it's in full motion. And, for us to be even having a chance to finish it off this Easter weekend is ridiculous, when I thought a few months ago we were down and out. So, fair props to everybody, fair dues, and the fans as well. Fair dues to the fans for sticking in there. We've had some horrible, horrible games and horrible away days this season where we travelled absolute miles to get stuffed and pumped. But it'll be worth it at the end, because honestly, I believe that, I've seen enough from this squad in the past few weeks and the past month or so that we can stay in this division. And it'd be nice if we can build on it next year, because that like you said, the dressing room, the tightness, it's so good to see. And you can see it on the pitch, they're just speaking to each other, having a laugh. And they look like they're enjoying themselves again when, they're in probably one of their most important few games in their career, run of games, and they're in a very extremely pressurized situation at the moment. So it's good to see that the core's held strong, and hopefully that's what we'll be targeting to do next year, and keep the squad of that group up.
Yeah, of course. And it's funny, actually, because I've just seen a few days ago that Rushall Olympic have been relegated as well from the National League North. It just shows you how in a year how things can change. But also in the National League North, everywhere we went, we were kind of the bad team. You know, we were the team everyone wanted to beat. You know, no one really likes Boston United, but we've come into this league, and I mean, we're getting praised sort of everywhere we go from other supporters of most of the other teams. You know, and fans and just general fans of football. You know, of the National League. You know, because you know we travel in and our numbers away. You know, the team puts on good performances, and how many times I've heard other fans saying, "We hope you stay in the league." You know, I don't think it's just because they want to beat us. I think
Yeah,
it's, you know, a genuine thing, isn't it?
yeah.
Which is nice.
Well, it's more frustrating when, they're fighting for titles and we're taking points off, and then it gets a bit more frustrating, of course.
Yeah,
York, we are York's bogey team. Like, we are, like, spending more are to us ourselves. Yeah, but 6 points off of York this season. Who would have thought that, by the way?
exactly.
Ridiculous. But yeah, no, I was at Altrincham the other day, not Altrincham, Aldershot, sorry. And yeah, we parked the car up down the high street in one of the car parks, and we were walking down. And it was about a 15-20 minute walk, and we were just talking to this lad and his older shop fans, their dad, just a group of supporters, and they'd just come out the pub, and they were I know they just had their trip to Wembley sealed with the FA Trophy win, but they were the nicest people I've ever spoken to. They were like, "Oh yeah, you'll win today. You're a good team." I was like, "What is going on? This is weird." I was like, "Why does everybody like Boston? It's so odd." But I think it's partly the way that we play and the way that we've sort of improved ourselves. And Graham's, got to be the man that sits with. He's the main man that's really come in and improved that. And the fans as well. The fans get props everywhere we go. We sing, we travel in numbers, like multiple coaches as well. We speak about that, actually. You've got MS Events taking 3 or 4 on the last day to Maidenhead.
Yeah,
Boost has got 4 on. I'm sure there's loads. We sold out an 850 ticket away end with about
crazy.
a month before the match, which we all were thinking, oh yeah, this could be the be all and end all. But now
Yeah,
it might not even mean anything. So it might be just
no,
one big fight. I think personally, Damien, I prefer it if it was like that, because
I would.
my nerves would be shot if we had to go there and get something, and we're all in fancy dress. But no, it's going to be a great day out, isn't it? Honestly, and
It
it,
is.
it's going to be packed on Friday as well. I know there's a few coaches going to Solihull. I don't know if you're going there, but yeah, it's going to be. It's just amazing to see that many people following Boston United. I think when you think about it in broader terms as well, where we're located is bad for bringing in players, but for a supporter base, we probably got most people to Skegness. And if you want to go to another decent sized large club, in my opinion, you have to go to Peterborough or Lincoln. So they're both about,
Of course.
40 minutes, 50 minutes travel. So, it's a real, like, sort of hotbed of football. And if anybody in this area and you want to go support a football team at the moment, Boston is a perfect choice for you. And we're seeing that because people are we're filling the stadium and we're filling those buses. It's absolutely great to see everybody involved and pulling together in one direction. And that's another thing from the Culver House era, is that everybody feels united as one. Culver House never used to come over to the fans at the end of the game, which I
He didn't.
didn't personally like that, to be honest. Never used to stand up in the dugout. But now you see Graham fighting and bickering and everything, but every decision with the fourth official and the referee. It's great to see, and it's all like we're all pulling together in one direction. I just hope that we can get over the line, because how devastating would it be now if we still got relegated? I don't think we will, but
No.
for that thought to even come in my mind, the amount of work that we've put in over the past two and a bit months is ridiculous. And for us to go down, I don't think we will. I saw on X the other day that somebody's said that it's only one team ever has got relegated from the National League on 52 points. So the
Right.
odds are incredibly low. And if you look at the run-ins of other teams, Maidenhead is quite scary. They play quite a few of the bottom half.
They do, don't
and
they?
pointers. Yeah, they play
I mean,
well.
I think I said the other day they've got the easiest running,
They
but
do
then if you look at it on the other way, everyone's fighting, so they
exactly,
probably haven't got the easiest running.
and they're going to take points off each other, aren't they? I think
Yeah,
Weldstone versus Maidenhead, one of them's going to pick up points, and that's the thing. The other
yeah,
one won't. So
mm,
I think we're
yeah,
nearly there. I honestly think we're nearly
yeah,
there. A win on Friday would just seal it. But
yeah.
it's absolutely incredible to be at this stage.
I mean,
Oh
looking at the table, as Ebbsfleet are bottom, aren't they? Then
yeah,
filed. I think they're all but down, aren't they? Filed now.
I think so. I
And
think
then
they've got
obviously
too
you've
much.
got Maidenhead, Dagenham, and Redbridge. Then Wildston, and then us. So yeah, it's going to be a tough run in. It's going to be scary at times. It's going to be heartbreaking at times. But yeah, like you say, hopefully, we can pull it out the bag and get something for sure. But there was an interview done on Saturday with
Mhm.
BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Rob Makepeace from BBC Radio Lincolnshire interviewed David Newton, the chairman, after the game. And he had some interesting thoughts. You can go to the BBC Radio Lincolnshire Sport Facebook page, or the X page, I guess, and the interview will be on there. Or you can go to BBC Sounds, of course, and find the Boston United podcast for BBC Radio Lincolnshire on there, and you can hear the interview. But he brought up many interesting bits on there. I don't know if you've heard it yourself, David.
I did get a chance. Yeah, it was quite interesting the stuff that he mentioned. Obviously, the big one. Well, there's quite a few big things mentioned in
Yeah.
there. Um,
Well, I mean, one of the things that he obviously did say, which was interesting for most fans, was that he was asked about Graham helping him get plans sorted for next season, and he kind of said, "I hope so," because Graham's contracted for next season, which obviously was something that no one knew. I mean, I think most people probably thought it was till the end of the season, but he's actually contracted till next season, so we've got him at least, hopefully, touch wood, because obviously he's doing such a great job at Boston that I'm sure
yeah.
there's other clubs looking at him and thinking, well, okay, he's not
Unless
so
somebody
bad,
comes
is
in with
he?
a big wad of cash, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, he seems to be enjoying his time at the club, and I mean, it's great news, isn't it?
It is, you know, I personally I didn't think he'd be on a contract for next season, but the time that he came in and the support that he's been given maybe shows the confidence that the board have in himself and his team to go on and strive for improvement at the moment, and we're certainly reaping the rewards. And he mentioned in there that I believe he's planning for next season with him actively at the moment. So they're confident that they can stay in the division, and if they're confident, I think we should be as well. But the fact that he's devoting another step of his time here, he is probably one of the best. Well, he is probably the best manager we've had, for a long, long time at the club. But I've been thinking, don't shoot me down for this, but Graham seems to be good at fighting fires and pulling people out of challenges, out of relegation battles and stuff. But how far can he take us as a football club? And that's one thing that it's been on my mind. Can we challenge for titles under Graham Coughlan? I think he's got an identity and he'll make us hard to beat. But is it possible? In his further or past career, sorry, you look at Bristol Rovers, Mansfield, Newport. They're all sort of. I think he did get in the playoffs with Bristol the season afterwards that he came in, but that's only as far as he's gone. And
Yeah.
you got to question it. How far can he actually take us? We won't know. We won't know. That's the thing. We won't know
No,
till
no.
till it happens. I can't predict the future, but that's the only question that's been sort of banding about my mind. If he can keep us up, how far can he take us? Maybe a bit of stability next year. Solid
Yeah.
finish. Hopefully, aim for like mid-table. Then is he the man to push us on towards the Football League? Who knows? And that's all if we stay up this year as well. So I might be getting a bit ahead of myself, but it's a question that's got to be asked, isn't it?
Of course, I think, like you say, you've got to look at stability for next season, haven't you? I mean, we've kind of, which we predicted, to be fair. Everyone predicted, we were going to be near the bottom this season. Most people did predict that. No one saw us sort of challenging mid-table, or everyone thought it was going to be a case of just surviving, which is happening. But yeah, I mean, like you say, next season definitely looking at stability. But obviously, we're going full time next season.
Yeah.
And another thing that David Newton actually said was obviously it was a no-brainer to go full time. It's a way of stepping up. And he said it's an expense that we can't afford, but we've got to do. And that's a little bit worrying for him to say we can't actually afford to go full time, but we're having to do it. I mean, yeah, the trust has got to be in David Newton. He wouldn't do anything to the club that he knows is going to affect it, would he? I wouldn't think. It's just a case of it will come together, won't it?
And if it doesn't, we'll make it work. That's the way.
Yeah.
No, like you say, I don't think he put the position of the club in any jeopardy whatsoever. He's always making the right decision for the club, whether you agree with it or not. He's always, striving for the best for the players, for the fans, for the management team, for the community. And it's great to hear that we're going to go full time. Like you said, that comment was a bit worrying, just a little bit. But I don't think he's not been one to splash money on the playing budget and the players, is he? He's more about the infrastructure and making the club more sustainable, and to try and prevent these horror stories that you see with clubs like Bury and stuff, and the folding of it. So it's more focused on, building a club with a decent infrastructure and multiple revenue streams, rather than on the playing budget. Not that we definitely don't spend on it. I believe we had the agent fee figures coming out yesterday. That was an interesting figure, 20-odd thousand, 40,000. Something
14,
in
I
there,
think it was
in that
14,
bracket,
I believe.
But
around that, yeah.
Also, sorry, I'm going a bit on a tangent here, but you look at the people that were competing. Forest Green spending like £140,000 on player agents, all for somebody discussing a deal over the phone, is ridiculous. So I think we've done quite well to keep that at a low cost. But yeah,
what's crazy about that? Sorry, just to talk about that quickly.
Yeah.
I saw League Two's paying agents, and I mean some of them were really low compared to the National League. It was ridiculously low. A lot of them. I think there was one or two that was like 230,000. Which I believe was Fleetwood and Gillingham. I believe were the two that were the highest, about 230,000 odd on agent fees, which is absolutely crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think it's for the clubs, we've seen the big boys coming down and spending heavily on agent fees. I think that just coincides with how difficult the division is to get out of it. They want to get out at the first time of asking.
Yeah.
And, Forest Green have come in and they sort of faltered in recent weeks, and it doesn't look like they're going to get out. York certainly looked like one of the favourites for the playoffs, but you never know in the playoffs. York could not go up this year, and we could have somebody like, I don't know, Gateshead or something go up instead. So it's just the beauty of it. And I know the National League are campaigning for this 3 up, 3 down thing, and it'd probably be a lot more fairer over the season, because when we finished 6th last year, we probably shouldn't have been promoted, really, based upon the course of the whole season. And Scunthorpe missed out, didn't they? So, and they had to go in the playoffs, and it's just a case of who's got the best form coming in and who's the better on the day. And I think I support the 3 up campaign because I think it'd be a lot more fairer.
I think it would.
But no, it's just ridiculous to see these clubs coming down and spending so much money and still not going up. And that's what we've got to compete with. And that's why we're making the jump to full time, isn't it? To try and compete on some of the levels that these big ex-Football League clubs that are going to be dropping in, look like Carlisle are going to come down. I don't know if you saw the goals the other day because that went viral on social media. Some silly 90th minute plus goals against Accrington to try and keep their hopes alive.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Oh, no, Tranmere, wasn't it? Tranmere in it as well.
Tranmere, yes.
Yeah, and then they got a win against another relegation threatened side. So, that's a horrible trip as well. If you look at who's coming up, you've got Truro as well.
I
Oh
know.
my God.
Imagine Truro to Carlisle. I hope that's not an evening game.
Yeah, that Tuesday night.
Yeah,
No, it's
they
bad.
should
But
do. They did it to us. Why can't they do it to
with
them as well?
Yeovil. It's further though, isn't it? But
It
yeah,
is.
we're going to try and compete with some of these big boys that are coming down, and a step in full time football has always been the direction going ahead. I think, and it's always been in the plan,
Yeah.
and it's probably been helped by the fact that we're holding our own now at this point in the National League, and hopefully we stay up and we can build on it. But even if we do go down, which the odds are pretty unlikely at the moment, I'd say that we're still going to go full time and try and build on that as well and push ourselves forward. And it's just a step in the right direction, isn't it, really?
Of course it is. And something I did pick up on as well that David was talking about was that apparently he had talked with previous managers about going full time, and they all sort of said no to it. They all sort of said no, it's not a good idea, it's not right. Graham's obviously the first person. I mean, he said that they decided amongst themselves as the club that they were going to go full time. It wasn't necessarily Graham that said it, but he said that he had spoken to other managers in the past and that they had said no. So which is another thing, because we've heard different. I don't know whether that was towards Culverhouse or what, because we've heard in the past that there was money available for Culverhouse, which he obviously didn't spend. Now, did he speak to him about going full time? He rejected that. They've obviously went hybrid instead. And you just wonder whether all these led to a bit of unrest within the club, maybe.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Really, when you think about it, how, what, and why a management team would choose not to go full time, especially at the level. There's more and more clubs at National League North level going full time season on season, and majority of the teams, if not one or two, including ourselves, are not full time in the National League itself. So it's a bit odd, maybe because it reduces the the transfer budget and the wage budget and stuff like that. But it's odd, isn't it? But Graham seems poised, and he knows, and he's confident in the ability of the club, the fan base, and just the club overall, and the backing that he's getting, to really take, he mentioned it's going to be more expensive than he'd like it to be, but it's a risk that Graham's willing to take. And
Yeah.
if it goes sour, he's willing to take, recognition for what he's done in making it go like that. So it's a bold move, isn't it? It's bold. It's really bold.
Yeah.
But I think it's nice to see that, somebody's finally come along, and it's definitely probably more suited to Graham because he's been managing in full-time football until now, rather than Culverhouse with hybrid and part-time and stuff. So yeah,
True.
I just think it's just a fact of the man is in the right place at the right time, and we've got the same aspirations as Graham, really, and that's to go as high as we can without putting ourselves into a bad financial situation.
Yeah, of course. And another thing was accommodation that was mentioned.
Yeah.
They're going to get accommodation for players that are coming, that are obviously professional and come in from afar, which is a good way of getting players for, full-time players from other clubs in, isn't it? So hopefully the pool will be open more so that, the better player will be able to join Boston United next season.
Yeah, we've mentioned it before, haven't we, about the geography, and Graham's mentioned it, and it's hard, isn't it? You look where we are, the roads are awful, you can't get anywhere very quickly, so
No.
they're going to need to relocate, aren't they? And I think, I thought, I was thinking this might be on the cards from day one, is because they all stay at the Travelodge at the moment, don't they? I believe.
That's right. I do believe they do.
Yeah, but Chestnut Homes, you got plenty of buildings and plenty of space to build some accommodation for players. Cameron Gregory, he's one at the moment. He lives in Shrewsbury or something, and he stays over away from his family. It's ridiculous. He's been at the club a few seasons now. I think he feels, like he's somewhere where he's loved and somewhere where he can progress his football. So, maybe he can move over into this accommodation. I don't know, maybe even get a house and relocate his family over here if they like it that much. You know, I see his family walking around the stadium quite often. Not as often recently, but last year I know they're around quite a lot. And yeah, it just feels like, you know, it just gives us that extra opportunity to try and attract a bit more, increase our pool. And yeah, it's just another step towards making it, you know, easier and like we're more likely to compete in this division and not just scrap to try and stay in it.
Yeah, of course. So hopefully we will see some different players or newer players, better players coming in. So finally, he did mention about the new stand that's we've been waiting for a few years
Yeah,
now.
how many times we talked about that?
Yeah, apparently the council have got the money. They're just waiting for it to come through. He's got the tenders ready, apparently, to send out to companies. He was saying it's going to include a badminton court, a sports hall, a gym, a dance studio, sports bar. So you know, it's obviously it's going to be a big money earner once it's built and open, isn't it? So more revenue for the club to bring in, which is going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be. It needs to be done, doesn't it? Really, it's a bit of an eyesore. We've been told that it's going to be done for the past few years, and nothing's really started. I believe they did rip up some rubble the other day, but that's about as far as they've got.
Yeah.
So, you know, to hear that, we're all sort of waiting at the moment, just waiting for it to be done and for the whole complex to be, you know, sorted. I mean, you think about the 3G at the moment. I don't believe the kids on there actually have any place to change. Sorry, unless they
No.
go in the first team change room. So it's been quite important that they actually get that up, and then the bar and going a bit more diverse. Did he mention a soft play area for children and a cafe for parents to sit and
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
the children play? It's just about making the income more diverse, isn't it? And just
yeah.
making another step to being a more sustainable or self-sustainable football club. So yeah, it just needs doing. Just get it done as fast as possible. I don't know if it'll be ready for next season now because you know if
No.
it starts soon, I don't know how long it'll actually take. But you know, there it'll just be so much better, and it'll just feel
Oh, it will
complete
be.
finally. Just finally, it'll just be the final piece, and it'll be all good.
Yeah. Well, he seems to think that everything's all ready to go. So it's just a case of getting the money from the council, and
Yeah,
they're
we
holding
know.
on to it. So Boston Borough Council, come on, release the money.
Yeah,
Let's get our
please,
stand built.
let's get it done.
Absolutely, of course. So yes, so we're just gonna have a quick look. So we've got Wildston, of course, this coming Friday. I mean, it's a 12-pointer, isn't it? It's a massive game. You know, if you're listening to this and you're not sure if you're going yet, then do get down to the Jakemans on Friday. Take your nan, your granddad, your mum, your dad, your cousins, your uncles and aunties, your friends, anyone you can take. Just, you know, get some tickets and get down because, you know, the players are going to really need the crowd behind them, aren't they?
It's probably the biggest game we've seen there. I mentioned it previously. It's probably the game that's going to keep either team up if you get 3 points. Even I was thinking about this the other day. What if they did a cheeky gentleman's handshake before they came 0-0, both get a point and drive on towards safety each other? But no, that won't be happening. There's no way in this
No.
economy. So it's massive. It's hard to really put it into words how important this game is for both sets of supporters and the both clubs. You know, this could seal the deal on it. So yeah, get down there, get to the
Yeah.
Jakeman. I'm taking a few extra than I normally am. So we're all gonna have a lovely day, and hopefully this could be a day we can look back on in a few weeks and think that is where we've done it. That's where we, you
Of
know,
course.
held our own. It's going to be an amazing day, and then we have the Saturday and the Sunday off, obviously for Easter Sunday, and we come back on Monday for an away game at Solihull,
Yes.
don't we? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and I mean they're not doing fantastically well, are they? They're
no,
sort of drifting down. I mean, I think they had a positive result last week, didn't they? I
yeah,
think, did they?
they only beat Southend by a fluke goal or something, so
Yeah.
that's sort of their playoff hope really. And Solihull's first win in about 2 months, I think, which is not ideal,
Yeah.
but you know they're not. I don't think they're as good as they have been in the past few seasons. I think I backed them early on in my pre-season predictions as well.
I
Looks
think
like
I might have done actually.
yeah, they're all going a bit wrong. We'll do a review at the end, obviously, and
Of
you know
course.
it'll be funny to see how far we were wrong. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because that's the day if we do win, and I believe if results go our way, and even if we don't win on Friday, that we win on the Monday, that we could be mathematically safe. So everybody's going down there effectively. Loads of coaches, loads of cars. It's not a very far trip. It's only Birmingham really. It's not that
right.
far.
Yeah.
So it's going to be packed and it's going to be bouncing, and it's just going to be another cracking away day. But hopefully, we're going into there knowing by the end of the match that we could be getting something here, and we still got 2 games to go after that as well. So the pressure's not on those final games because we want to get it done as early as possible, please.
We do. We want to, so we can enjoy them last couple of games and not have to worry for sure. Of course, it's Gateshead and then, of course, Maidenhead at home after that. But, I mean, Wealdstone on Friday is not going to be an easy game, is it? No. I mean, they seem to be plucking results out of the air at the moment. I mean, they obviously beat us. They got a draw at Barnet, didn't they, at the weekend, which didn't really see coming. Barnet seemed to be cruising that game from what I understand. And Wealdstone just got themselves back in it. So it's not going to be. We're going to have to be on our toes for the full 90 minutes, like we have been. We've been doing that in games, so it's not going to be any different, I guess, for Boston. The players know what to expect, I would imagine, especially only playing them a few weeks ago. Hopefully we can get the home advantage this time.
Yeah, let's just get 3 points, please. I don't care how it's done. Just do it. Just do it, please. No, it's going to be
a penalty or anything, an own goal or anything.
I don't care. Just please get the 3 points. We need them. But so do Wealdstone. It's going to be a battle. We're going to have to fight for every yard. We're going to have to. It's going to be probably one for the ages. I hope I'm not livening this up a bit too much. So it goes to a 0-0 or something. It's going to be really bad. But no, both teams need it. Both teams need a result here, and it's going to be, whoever comes out top's going to probably strive onwards from here on out. Wealdstone picking up results, aren't they? Like I said, the Barnet win beat us a few weeks ago. But it's like a double header, isn't it? It's like the FA Cup semi-final. They're coming to our turf now, or quarter-final, sorry. And they're coming, and we're going to try and get one over on them because they got one over on us at their place. So
1-0 down from the first leg. We need to win at least
2-0. Even one. The points is everything that matters, doesn't it? So
that's exactly, of course.
Oh, I'm so excited! I can't wait. I'm buzzing. Really, these days are going to go so slow. There have been the past few weeks, really. When we've got a win, I just want to get playing again. And I want to get another one and get another one, get another one. And hopefully we'll be one big step closer on Friday afternoon, come about 5 o'clock to stay in the National League.
Of course. We only got till Friday, not the Saturday this week. So that's good. So, right. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, David. Thanks for popping on. It's been quickly organised up the Pilgrims today. But thank you very much. As I say, we'll be back very soon. And if you do want to subscribe, we are on Spotify, Apple Music and Amazon Music. You can also find us on YouTube. Just search for Up the Pilgrims. You can subscribe on there as well. And we should be back in a couple of weeks. And Tom will be back with us as well, won't he? So looking forward to that. And hopefully it might be a staying up party. You just never know. David, thank you very much. Speak to you soon. Up the Pilgrims.
Up the Pilgrims, guys.